Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be discussing why so many women are unhappy in their marriages, which leads them to file for divorce. Okay, there could be a lot of different things that are causing women to be unhappy. And I can tell you one of those things is not, most likely not the man she's married to. So I'm going to be discussing three major things that I have seen, that I have come to know, that make women to become unhappy in their marriage. So let's start with the number one thing that I have seen. The first thing is this. There are a lot of women that get married, but they forget to plan for the actual marriage, how they are going to present themselves in the marriage. Now, what does that mean? That means that a lot of women are like, okay, I'm married now, I'm a wife now, I'm going to do this and this and this and that for my husband so that the marriage can, progress and move forward in a positive way. There's nothing wrong with that. That is actually a good goal for a woman to have. But the problem with that is some women tend to do that and forget themselves in their marriage. They forget that they came as an individual into the marriage to become one with their husband, but they end up forgetting themselves. So it starts to seem like the women are applying or themselves to the marriage to make the marriage work, to make the marriage flourish in a healthy way, forgetting themselves. So they end up losing their own identity. And that's why sometimes you come onto social media and you hear a lot of women say things like, oh, I gave and gave and gave. I was giving so much to this man, or I was giving so much to this marriage, same thing. And and nothing was given back to me, which is not true. But in most cases, it's not true. But the thing is, women tend to forget that while they are in a marriage, they need to focus on themselves as well. Because you're still an individual in your marriage, even though you're married and you and your husband are now one. That's the way it's supposed to be. But at the same time, how can you give as a woman in your marriage if you're not giving to yourself first? You have to rejuvenate yourself as a woman in your marriage within the confines of your marriage vows. Now, I get it. There are, there are those very traditional marriage vows, for better, for worse, till death do us part. And I've noticed that a lot of marriages these days, a lot of them do not even go by those traditional marriage vows. They kind of create their own vows that don't sound anything like what we've always known growing up, like, for better, for worse, to death do us part. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. A lot of marriages in today's day are missing that key part of the vows. But anyway, I digress. The actual point is, women, you have to find ways, not just one way. You have to find many ways that are within the confines of your marriage vows to feed your own self, to feed your own soul, and to rejuvenate your whole being. You have to find the things that will make you happy, ladies that are married. Because remember, if you're a lady and you're not married, this video is not for you. I'm not even sure why you're here, but this video is specifically for those type of women that are married or are looking to be married. Now, I've had a few women tell me that, oh, well, what about those women that don't want to be married but want to be in a long-term relationship? Well, in that case, the same goals apply to a long-term committed relationship. You can apply the same things that I'm using for a marriage. You can apply that in a long-term committed relationship. But ladies, do not neglect yourself. when you are married or when you are in a committed long-term relationship, because eventually you're going to feel like I'm giving and giving and giving and giving, and not, I don't have time for myself, or you say things like nothing was given back to me. I felt neglected. Ladies, 9 out of 10 times you're the one neglecting yourself, not necessarily the man that you are married to or your significant other. Is most likely not the one neglecting you. You've just decided to neglect yourself, or you just assume that when you get married, you're going to do all these things for the marriage, forgetting yourself. I heard something somewhere. Someone was saying, I can't remember the name of the person, but that person was saying that in a marriage, a woman has to almost become selfish, and it's not selfish in terms of I'm going to not, pay attention to my husband's needs. No, it's selfish in the sense that I need to be able to fill my own cup first in order for me to fill or support or be that wonderful helpmeet to my husband. You cannot be that wonderful person to your husband, ladies, if you are not being wonderful to yourself. So this definitely leads a lot of women to become unhappy, to become unappreciated. They may be appreciated, but the thing is, if she is not making her own self happy, she cannot feel the appreciation that her husband is giving to her. He's giving and giving, but she can't receive it because she forgot to make her own self happy. So then she'll start thinking that he's not appreciating her, while all along he's appreciating her. He's doing his part to keep his wife, but the woman forgot to do her own part to keep herself. So that's the number one thing, ladies. Do not neglect yourself in your marriage. Number one. Number two, you have to manage your expectations. You can't even go around that. There's no way around it. No matter how you beat it up, chop it up, and slice and dice it, you have to manage your expectations. You have to understand that your husband is not supposed to make you happy. Ladies, number one, if you ever feel unhappy in your marriage, it is not his fault. You are responsible as a woman for your own happiness. You are responsible as a woman, as a wife. You are responsible for your own emotions. You dictate how your emotions are going to play out in your marriage. So anytime I see these women coming out saying, oh, I was so unhappy in my marriage and this, and I'm like, well, you were unhappy. The man most likely wasn't. I mean, he was doing his own thing to fill his cup up, you see. But the women tend to just believe that the man is supposed to make her happy. The man is supposed to cater to her. The man is supposed to do all these things. And then she forgets that she's supposed to be doing those things for herself first in order to keep her happiness in her marriage going. And then the man, whatever the man does for her benefit, is supposed to be like a supplemental. It's supposed to be like an added bonus. But for you, wives, to think that your husband is supposed to make you happy, that's going to be an epic fail. You are going to fail in your marriage. You're going to stay unhappy in that marriage, and you're going to end up in the divorce court divorcing your husband, and you're going to go back on the streets. I don't know what you're looking for in the streets, though. I don't know. But if you leave a good man, that stability, that organization, his leadership, his protection, his provision, you leave that because you were unhappy and refused to fix your happiness, I don't know what's out there for you. In all honesty, I have no idea. Neither do you, ladies. You don't have any idea what's out there for you. It most likely will not be anything close to what you already have. So ladies, keep your marriage together. fix your happiness or fix your unhappiness within your marriage. Do not get up, divorce that man because you're unhappy. You're going to take your unhappy self out there to those streets, and for a while, for a little while, it might seem like you're enjoying yourself, but eventually it's going to hit you real hard that this ain't it. And you're going to realize you left something good back there. And who is to say that that man would take you back? You see, ladies, how this goes? I don't know who told women that they have to divorce their husband if they're not happy. Why divorce the man? The man didn't make you unhappy. And I'm speaking in terms of women that are married to the type of man that she wants to be married to. I'm not talking about toxic relationships. I don't do toxic relationships here. I don't have any counsel for toxic relationship people because that's just something that you should not even get into in the first place. So I'm only speaking in terms of healthy marriages because there are a lot of women that are married in good, healthy, sustainable relationships, but they end because they neglect themselves. They end up becoming unhappy. And when you are in an unhappy state, you cannot receive the good that your husband is sending your way. Therefore, it will look through your own lenses as a woman. It will look as if he is making you unhappy and he is not paying attention to your own who you are. He's not paying attention to your emotions. You start calling him emotionally unintelligent, this, that, and the other. When in the case that is not so, it is because you refuse to take on the responsibility to do a lot of different things. You're going to have to try a lot of different things until you find what works best within the confines of your wedding vows, to help rejuvenate your feelings, rejuvenate your emotions, and remind yourself why you got married to this man in the first place. Otherwise, you are going to fail in your marriage. And the last thing, the third thing is this. Ladies, you have to learn. Marriage is a learning thing. It's a forever learning thing until the marriage ends in divorce or the marriage ends until death do you part. You have to learn how to ride the wave. If you think that marriage is one of these linear things, forget it. You already have the wrong mindset coming into marriage. Marriage is not linear. Marriage has its ups and downs, depending on what season you are. Like when you first get married, let's say you don't have any kids, that's a different season. Then you start having kids, that's another season. So see how that wave just changed? Seasons come, seasons go, and seasons change. Expect change, ladies. You are going to have to expect to change as yourself and that your husband is going to change. The change within the marriage shouldn't be a bad thing. It shouldn't be a negative thing either. But I can tell you one thing is one way to make the change a positive thing for you as a woman is to learn how to ride the wave, to recognize what season you're in, and to know what to do in each season. You have to learn how to take breaks, to, get yourself together as a woman, cater to your own needs as a woman. I always say within the confines of your wedding vows. Don't go doing things, ladies, outside of your wedding vows now, because you will tear your marriage apart. Just remember the vows that you took when you first got married and do things within the confines of your marriage vows. But marriage is a doing thing. You have to fill your own cup in order to help your husband fill his cup, okay? That's what will help rejuvenate your happiness in your marriage. You have to recognize what season you're in and you have to readjust yourself, okay? There's a lot of responsibility in marriage. And even if you're not married, even as an adult woman, you have responsibilities for yourself in the first place. But when you are in a long-term committed relationship or you are married, you're going to have to become creative. That is not the time to sit down and say, oh, I'm married now, so I'm not going to do anything. My husband's going to do it all for me. Newsflash. Your marriage is going to fall apart and you will find yourself in the divorce court. Ladies, stop blaming these men. Most of the time, it's not the man that's making you unhappy. It is you. You are the one making yourself unhappy because you neglected yourself. You forgot that you have a responsibility to yourself. You decided that you were not going to do the things you need to do in order to help yourself get rejuvenated each time. Okay, and recognizing the seasons that you're in your marriage and managing your expectations. Remember, ladies, as I close this video, remember, the man you're married to is not responsible for your happiness. Your happiness is within you. It's not within him. So you have to fix your own unhappiness. It's okay for you to ask your husband for some ideas and some tips on how to help yourself fix your own unhappiness, but you got to fix it though. You do got to fix it. And along the way, you have to keep sitting down and having conversations with your husband that you are married to. Or if you're in a long-term relationship, you sit down, you have conversations with him. I mean, you're in a committed relationship, you're in a marriage. It's two of you all, coming together as one flesh. That's the way it's supposed to be. So, yes, sit down with him, have conversations with him. Let him also recognize how you are feeling, and maybe he can provide some tips for you. Okay, that's all I have for you today, ladies, and I will see you on the next video. Oh, remember to like, share, and subscribe because it's going to help this channel grow. It's going to help this message get out to as many women as possible. Let's see even if it's one woman that can hear this message and just tweak it to her own relationship, and it'll help her get favorable results. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, until the next video, I'll see you all later. Bye.